Welcome to Unapologetically in Power. I'm Jennifer Damascus, and this is the space where we talk about identity, power, and what it actually takes to live and lead without performing for approval. Think of this as a room you step into once a week to take that armor off. A place where we name the patterns we've been praised for and gently question whether they're still serving us. And today, I want to talk about something that hides in plain sight for a lot of high-performing women. Something that looks like discipline, looks like excellence, looks like having high standards. But underneath it, very often, is avoidance. So let's start with something you probably said at least once, maybe this week, maybe this morning. Something like, I just want to get it right. I'm almost ready. I just need to clean this up a little more. I have high standards. And here's the uncomfortable truth I want to explore with you today. Perfection isn't excellence, it's avoidance. And before you tense up, this isn't a call out. It's a translation, because perfectionism isn't a flaw. It's a survival strategy that once worked very well. And now, quietly, it may be keeping you stuck. So let's talk about what perfectionism actually is. Because most high-achieving women I work with don't even identify as perfectionists. They see themselves as disciplined, thoughtful, reliable, detail-oriented, committed to quality. And they are those things. But perfectionism isn't about doing high-quality work. It's about needing certainty before safety. Perfectionism says, if I get this exactly right, I won't be judged. If I prepare enough, I won't fail. If I refine this a little more, I won't be rejected. That's not excellence. That's fear wearing a very polished outfit. Excellence is about craft. Perfectionism is about control. So excellence says, I care deeply and I'm willing to learn. Perfectionism says, I can't afford to be seen until I'm flawless. That distinction matters more than we tend to admit. So why does perfectionism feel responsible or maybe even noble? And this part matters because perfectionism doesn't come from nowhere. For many people, it starts early. You might have been the responsible one, the smart one, the easy one, the one who didn't cause trouble. You learn to read the room, to anticipate expectations, to edit yourself before anyone else could. And over time, precision became protection. Psychologists Paul Hewitt and Gordon Flett, who've studied perfectionism for decades, describe it not as a strength, but as a coping strategy rooted in fear of evaluation and rejection. In other words, perfectionism isn't about standards, it's about safety. And for a while, it works. It earns approval, it builds confidence, it keeps you ahead of disappointment, until one day it doesn't. So let's talk about the cost that nobody talks about, because perfectionism rarely looks chaotic. It looks like over-preparing, overthinking, endlessly refining, waiting until things feel ready, starting strong, then stalling quietly. Brilliant ideas that never quite ship. It looks like diligence, but underneath, It's delay disguised as discipline. And the cost isn't just productivity, it's identity. Because over time, perfectionism teaches you that your worth lives in outcomes, your safety depends on approval, and your voice needs polishing before it deserves space. And that's exhausting. When perfection is the bar, rest feels irresponsible. Completion feels premature. Visibility feels risky. So you stay in preparation mode, forever refining, forever almost ready, forever one edit away. This is not a mindset issue. And here's the part most mindset conversations skip. Perfectionism isn't primarily a thinking problem. It's a nervous system strategy. When your brain perceives uncertainty or evaluation as a threat, it activates your threat response. This is well documented in neuroscience research on stress and regulation, including the work of Brooke McEwen on allostatic load. Under threat, your system prioritizes control, vigilance, and error prevention, not creativity, not experimentation, not flow. That's why polishing feels safer than publishing. Your body is trying to reduce risk, and that makes sense. From a nervous system perspective, perfectionism is an attempt to create predictability in an unpredictable world. And there's nothing wrong with you for having it. But adulthood asks something different. It asks for discernment instead of control, presence instead of performance, choice instead of compulsion. And those aren't mindset switches, they're regulation shifts. So, what the research actually shows us about excellence is where the story gets interesting. Because research on performance and motivation consistently shows that self-compassion and psychological safety predict sustainable growth far better than self-criticism. Work by researchers like Kristen Neff and studies in self-determination theory by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan show that people perform better, persist longer, and recover faster when they feel internally safe. Psychological safety, it's a concept studied extensively by Amy Edmondson, also shows up as a key predictor of learning and effectiveness, not pressure. So in simple terms, pressure narrows behavior, safety expands it. Perfection promises safety through control, but excellence actually emerges from permission. Permission to try, permission to adjust, permission to be seen before you're finished. So let's start with a real distinction, and here's where we reframe. Excellence is responsive. Perfection is rigid. Excellence says, I'll do my best with what I know now. Perfection says, I can't move until I know everything. Excellence allows iteration. Perfection demands finality. Excellence creates momentum. Perfection creates paralysis. And most importantly, excellence trusts process. Perfection demands certainty. One expands you, the other cages you. So let me ask you something, and you don't need to answer out loud. Where in your life are you using perfection as a delay? Where are you waiting to feel ready before allowing movement? Where has preparation quietly replaced participation? And if you're honest, what might open up if you allowed yourself to be seen at 80% instead of 110%? And with these questions, just notice what comes up. No fixing, no forcing, just awareness. So you're probably asking, Jen, why does this matter in an identity level? I don't get it. And the reason why it does is perfectionism isn't just a work habit. It shapes how you relate to your visibility, your leadership, your money, your rest, creativity, your relationships. When your identity is built around being the capable one, slowing down can feel like losing yourself. That's why this work isn't about doing less. It's about disentangling who you are from what you produce. That's identity work. Quiet, subtle, deeply powerful. And if perfection has been part of how you've stayed safe, stayed capable, or stayed respected, there's nothing wrong with you for relying on it. It did its job. But you don't have to keep earning your right to exist through performance. Let me say that again. You do not have to keep earning your right to exist through performance. You are allowed to be in process. You are allowed to be seen before you're finished. You are allowed to choose presence over polish. And if this conversation stirred something for you, I've created a small reflective tool called the Power Prompt Quartet. It's a set of guided prompts designed to help you notice where perfection has been running the show and what wants to take its place. You'll find it linked in the show notes whenever you're ready. There's no pressure, it's just an invitation. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you next week here on Unapologetically in Power.